The Joe Girardi report. Here he is, the manager of the New York Yankees, is Joe Girardi.
Joe, great to have you aboard here. And, listen, the Tigers have hit your pitching the last couple days. You'd like to have a good performance out of Kennedy tonight and salvage a game here in this three-game series, huh?
Yeah, it would be great. I think it's important for him to have a good outing. The outing in Cleveland, 4 out of 5 innings were really good, and he had the one tough inning in the second, but he kept the damage to a point where we had a chance to come back and win that game.
Right, but he also threw 100 and some odd pitches in 5 innings, Joe. That's not good either, correct?
Oh, no, that is not good, and a lot of that had to do with the second inning. The second inning was approximately, 40 or so pitches.
Joe, how does the fan trace this Hughes thing as far as his information that he's received? He heard about night vision to maybe he stays in the rotation to an oblique muscle problem within 24 hours. So why don't you shed some light on it, you can, for the Yankee fan about where Hughes is and what his status is? Well,
he has struggled with his vision at nighttime. He's crossed our catcher up a number of times. We've tried the painting of the fingers, as you've seen, and he's actually going to see an eye specialist tomorrow. But the more pressing problem is we had just learned from Dr. Hershon after his MRI today, just a few minutes ago, that he has a stress fracture in his 9th rib. And the first time he felt it was the day after his start in Chicago. In Cleveland, he coughed, and that was the first time he felt it. So he is really going to do nothing for 4 weeks, have a repeat MRI or CAT scan to see where that stress fracture is.
All right, so you pitched him last night or 2 nights ago when he was banged up, not knowing that he hurt himself the day after that White Sox game?
He never shared it with anyone. So it is something that we've talked to him about now because he threw his side and didn't really feel it. So we're not exactly sure when this injury occurred because he felt he had no pain when he threw his side.
So you're talking 4 weeks shutdown, Joe, and then to bring him back. So we're talking about we're not going to see Hughes now probably May, June, probably to July.
Yes, it's going to be a while, and that's hoping that after 4 weeks the stress fracture is gone.
All right, so his year takes a major hit here, and that means enter Rasner. What are you expecting Rasner to do now that he's put up big numbers in the minors, 4-0, 0.87 ERA, 30 innings, 18 hits, 27 Ks, the whole thing. Is this a different Darryl Rasner that we're going to see now?
Well, we're going to find out. I mean, obviously, he threw some games last year where, he did okay. And, Raz has been a guy that competed very well in AAA this year. He's competed before. He knows what it's like to be up here. Just make your start. That's all I expect him to do. Throw strikes, get ahead of hitters, and give us an opportunity to win a game.
Did Hughes' rib thing, do you want to say that was a contributing factor to the Tiger performance 2 nights ago? I guess you'd have to say that, right?
Well, the strange thing is, Chris, when I look at his velocity was fine. He was as high as 94 the other night, and that's the highest he's been. So it's just strange to me where, he didn't say anything until after the game where he said he felt a little something in there, and to have a stress fracture, I mean, maybe his pain tolerance is fairly high. I don't know, but it's strange to me.
It's a bizarre turn of events here, Joe. Here you got a star kid, and all of a sudden he's got a broken rib and problems with his eyes. I mean, that is a stunning turn of developments here for the Yankees.
Well, I don't think the eye problem is going to be a problem. We'll get that fixed. We'll take care of that. He's going to see a specialist tomorrow, and obviously the rib is going to heal, but he's going to be out longer than we anticipated.
All right, so we're going to use to the shelf for a long time. Let's get to Kennedy and what that means to him. Does now he get, because of the Hughes thing and Rasner up, does that allow him maybe a little longer leash than he would have gotten?
No, he needs to start putting some good starts together. It's important for him. It's important for this club. It's important for all of our starters. And, obviously we think he's capable of pitching a lot better. He's shown flashes. It's consistency that you need, and he needs to pick it up.
Joe, I think what I see from him is he's afraid to challenge hitters. He's afraid to throw strikes right now. he's trying to be too fine, and you know you can't be too fine, and that's a lot of young pitchers go through that. But that's what I see with him. You got to have enough trust to throw strikes.
You have to, and if you get in long counts, you make all the hitters better, and then they see all your pitches the first time through, and they know what to expect the second time through. You're absolutely right, and we've talked to him about it. We've pounded it, over him that you need to be aggressive, trust your stuff, trust your fastball, go down and away. They're not going to hurt you.
How about these other injuries, Joe? What can you tell us about Posada? And obviously, you can make the argument that both he and A-Rod, whether they did it on their own or what have you, they rushed themselves back, which made these little ailments they have worse, correct?
Well, we were really patient with Georgie, and he didn't play for, more than a couple of weeks. And
then he caught the one game, and then he got hurt after that, right?
No. He actually he caught a couple. He caught two in a row. He had a day off. He caught a game. He had a day off, and then he came in the game, and then he made the great throw, threw out Sizemore, and made another good throw. And then the next day it was dead inside again, for lack of a better term. And it's just a matter of rest. He saw Altchek today. We should have his report, I would think, sometime tonight or tomorrow morning. So
sounds like a great debate. It sounds to me, Joe, like there's a great debate there as to what he should go through and what kind of care and what kind of what everyone should do here. That happens sometimes, especially with older athletes, a debate about what kind of care should, operate, not operate, just rehabilitation, how you do it, how long. So it seems to be a little bit of a debate about how he should be handled here.
Well, we got the report from Andrews, and his report was much the same as the first one he gave us. And, Georgie's just making sure, we're making sure, covering all of our bases. And like I said, we should have an answer fairly shortly. But he's doing strengthening exercise. He's resting, and you just have to be patient.
All right. How about A-Rod? A-Rod, you're not really worried about? Is that fair to say?
No. Obviously, I'm worried because we're not going to have him for 2 weeks. But I would be shocked if we don't have him in. And now it would be 14 days.
Joe, you've had an amazing amount of injuries for what we thought was going to be a pretty aggressive training camp. You're going to tell me that all these injuries are unrelated. I understand that. But, boy, the Yankees have been really nicked up these first month of the season here. Yeah,
and it stinks. You get Brian Bruni, who has the Liz Frank tripping, covering first base. You get a strange injury and a stress fracture in the rib that happens to pitchers from time to time. The players put their work in, and it's just strange. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not placing blame on anyone, but it's frustrating.